Ramamurthy Endowment Lecture on Constitutional Governance and Public Policy from an Indian Perspective 2025. Constitutional governance has become an indispensable component of world countries, which primarily regulates power distribution between the branches of the government. It is an important machinery to dispense economic and social justice, as manifested in the preamble to the Constitution of India. However, as all things Indian, we have our own unique take on it, and this endowment lecture seeks to shed light on its play in the Indian context. On that note, I request Ranjan, a student of CMR University, to please render the invocation song to commence the proceedings on this august occasion.
मैत्री भजत अखिल विजेत्री मैत्री भजत अखिल विजेत्री मैत्री भजत अखिल विजेत्री मैत्री भजत अखिल विजेत्री आत्मवदेव परानपि पश्यत आत्मवदेव परानपि पश्यत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत त्यजत परमेश्वरक्रममाक्रमणं त्यजत परमेश्वरक्रममाक्रमणं मैत्री भजत अखिल विजेत्री मैत्री भजत अखिल विजेत्री जननी पृथ्वी कामदुगास्ते जननी पृथ्वी कामदुगास्ते जनको देवः सकल दयालु जनको देवः सकल दयालु दाम्यतरत्तं दयनं जनत दाम्यतरत्तं दयनं जनत श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकल
signifies knowledge. All our activities should be governed by the light of knowledge, especially the knowledge of dharma. With that in mind, let us light the lamp of knowledge. I now request our chief guest and all the dignitaries on the dais to kindly light the lamp.
Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampada Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampada Shatru buddhi vinashaya Deepajyotir namostute
Thank you. I now request Professor Dr. T.R. Subramanian, Dean, School of Legal Studies, CMR University, to please deliver the welcome address.
A very pleasant morning.
A very pleasant morning to all of you present here. CMR University is a leading private university in Karnataka, committed to nurturing creative thinkers and advancing higher education across diverse disciplines such as law, architecture, engineering, management, social sciences and technology. With a dynamic faculty and cutting-edge infrastructure, CMR University offers undergraduate, postgraduate and doctoral programs across its constituent schools, fostering a vibrant environment for research, innovation and collaboration. The foundation to this university was laid as early as 34 years ago. And today it has a strength of over 22,000 students. CMR Law School was established in 2003 and CMR University came to be established in 2013 and started functioning in the year 2014. The law school, today we call CMR School of Legal Studies, became an integral part of the university, and today it has over 750 students enrolled in the three streams of law, that is LLB, BA LLB, BBA LLB, and in the LLM program we have over 75 students. In addition, there are over 40 students and who are research scholars pursuing their PhD on various contemporary subjects in the field of law. 11 of whom are currently serving as judges in different courts across Karnataka. Of them, 4 of them are serving in the capacity of district judges. Today we are hosting the second Dr. Shri K.C. Ramamurthy Endowment Lecture on Constitutional Governance and Public Policy. The first endowment lecture was delivered by the Honorable Attorney General of India, Shri R. Venkatramani, and it was well received by the students, teachers and the general public. Today's endowment lecture will be delivered shortly by the Honorable Judge Shri Aravind Kumar, who is currently the sitting judge of the Supreme Court of India and who is with us in our midst. His Lordship's law practice began in the High Court of Karnataka in 1990, and after 10 years of practice he was appointed as a judge of the High Court of Karnataka in 2009 and later as a permanent judge in the year 2012. After serving in the capacity of a permanent judge in the High Court of Karnataka for 11 years in the Karnataka High Court, he was appointed as the Chief Justice of the High Court of Gujarat in the year 2021 and became a judge in the Supreme Court of India in the year 2023. A highly respected scholar judge, I would say, a person with head and heart. His Lordship has delivered several landmark judgments on various crucial and relevant contemporary subjects in the area of law. Honorable Sir, we are truly honored to have you with us today to deliver the second Dr. K.C. Ramamurthy Endowment Lecture. On behalf of the CMR Group of Institutions, our Chairman, Madam Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor and the Provost and all other office bearers, I extend a warm welcome to your Lordship. I request our Honorable Chancellor, our Honorable Chairman, Shri K.C. Ramamurthy, to present a sapling as a token of our love and respect to His Lordship. It is my duty as well as privilege to welcome our esteemed Chancellor, Dr. Savita Ramamurthy, Dr. K.C. Ramamurthy, Chairman of the CMR Group of Institutions, and the I extend a warm welcome to P.C. Jagannath Reddy, who is the Secretary to Hon'ble. We have to welcome our honorable statutory officers. I welcome Dr. H.P. Raghavendra, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Praveen, Pro Vice Chancellor, Mr. Mohan Babu, the Registrar of the University, Dr. Rameshwaran, Director of CMR. I also welcome all the respected deans, directors, and members and students in CMR University to this august function. On behalf of the CMR Group of Institutions, I welcome Honorable Justice B.A. Patil, former Judge, High Court of Karnataka, Mr. Ashok Nagaraja, who happened to be a presently member of the Law Commission and a former Judge of the High Court of Karnataka. Then we forgot to make a mention, Dr. Rajkumar, IAS, who is the Principal Secretary of the Government of Karnataka. I just intend to say a few words about him. He is an accomplished civil servant with more than 30 years of experience and public service. He has held public service, held the position of public service in key positions to the Government of Karnataka. He was the Additional Chief Secretary for Commerce and Industries, Education and Higher Education and the Labour Department. Sir, we welcome you too. In addition, we have Mr. Ravindra Hegde, Registrar of the High Court of Karnataka. Welcome you. We also welcome Sudhish Pai, who is 2 days ago who was honored on his casa in Karnataka State Law University, who is an accomplished senior advocate and a jurist. Welcome you, sir, on behalf of the institution. I also welcome our former Registrar Evaluation, who is with us sitting in the public. Once again, welcome you, sir. I also welcome all the distinguished advocates, senior advocates who have come from the bar, and a few of the students who have come from outside law colleges, and mainly the students of the CMR school and the learned staff members. Once again, with best wishes to you.
Thank you, sir. It is my profound honor and privilege to introduce our chief guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Aravind Kumar. His Lordship was educated in Bengaluru, obtaining his degree at National College before completing his law from Bangalore University. During his student years, the Honorable Judge served as student union leader and vice president of the Bangalore University Student Action Committee. His legal career, spanning nearly 4 decades, commenced in 1987 upon his enrollment as an advocate, where he initially appeared in the trial courts for 3 years. From 1990 onwards, he shifted his practice to the Karnataka High Court, where he established independent practice. His Lordship's career has been marked by a succession of significant appointments and responsibilities. His Lordship was appointed Additional Central Government Standing Counsel at the High Court of Karnataka in 1999 and member of the Regional Direct Taxes Advisory Committee by the Government of India in 2002. In 2005, the Honorable Judge was appointed Assistant Solicitor General of India. Throughout his years at the bar, his advocacy spanned a diverse range, covering the Constitution, excise, customs, civil and criminal law, as well as numerous election petitions pertaining to legislative and parliamentary constituencies. The Honorable Judge was one of the founder members and Vice President of the Lahari Advocates Forum, an organization established by eminent senior advocates for the promotion of legal education and the training of young advocates. His Lordship also served with distinction as the Special Public Prosecutor for the Central Bureau of Investigation and Standing Counsel for the Income Tax Department. On 26 June 2009, His Lordship was appointed as Additional Judge of the High Court of Karnataka and was conferred the status of a permanent judge with effect from 7th December 2012. His Lordship was appointed Chief Justice of the High Court of Gujarat on 13th October 2021, serving with distinction until 12th February 2023. Subsequently, in recognition of his unparalleled integrity and contributions to the Indian legal system, Justice Aravind Kumar was elevated to the Supreme Court of India, assuming office on 13th February 2023, where he continues to serve the nation. Justice Aravind Kumar is a jurist whose work embodies the very ideals this endowment honors: integrity, reform, service, and the continuous pursuit of justice. Your Lordship, it is indeed an honor to have you here. I humbly invite you to deliver the second Dr. K.C. Ramamurthy Endowment Lecture on Constitutional Governance and Public Policy from an Indian Perspective, 2025.
A very good morning. Ellarigu namaskara. Respected dignitaries on the dais, Mr. Ramamurthy, Chairman, Mr. Jagannath Reddy, Secretary, Mr. Jaideep K. Reddy, Pro Chancellor, Mr. Raghavendra, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Praveen, Pro Vice Chancellor, Mr. Mohan Babu GM, Registrar, Mr. T.R. Subramania, the Dean, Mr. Vijay Parmeshwaran, and Dr. Rajkumar, dignitaries of the dais, my esteemed brothers, Justice Nijigandanavan, Justice Patil, learned senior advocates, Mr. Lakshmi Narayan, Mr. Sudesh Pai, whom I call him as a moving encyclopedia, and Srimati Sushila, learned senior advocate, Mr. Kamath, and Mr. Subramanian, the civil aviation expert and advisor to the PLO, and my friends from the bar, Mr. Sharma, many of them, I can't tell you, the list of names will go very long. So I will, all my esteemed friends from the bar, and my dear students, learned advocates, academicians, learned faculty members, and of course dear students. It's a privilege to reflect on a theme that resides at the soul of our republic: constitutional governance and public policy from an Indian perspective. When we speak of governance, we often imagine the modern trinity of the state, that is the legislature, the executive and the judiciary, as laid out in our constitution, which is referable to Articles 79 to 122, Articles 52 to 78, and Articles 124 to 147. Yet, the Indian vision of governance is much far older, stretching beyond written statutes into the real realm of what just now my young friend said, dharma, the timeless principle that guided the rulers and citizens alike before long 1950. Our civilization heritage defined ethical ideals of statecraft that still resonate. Kautilya's Arthashastra enjoined, it is said, what he says, I quote, Praja sukhe sukham rajnaha, prajanam cha hitem hitam. That means, in the happiness of the subjects lies the ruler's happiness. In their welfare lies his welfare, that is the ruler's welfare. This ancient moral code finds constitutional incarnation in Article 38 of the Indian Constitution, which directs the state to secure a social order based on justice, social, economic and political. The Mahabharata in its Shanti Parva declares, Dharma rakshati rakshitaha. Dharma protects the one who protects dharma. Our constitution mirrors this injunction. For instance, Article 13 nullifies any law consistent with fundamental right, and Article 14 guarantees equality before law, ensuring that governance always protects fundamental justice. The Ramayana likewise offers the ideal of Ramarajya, that is, reign of righteousness. Sage Valmiki describes during Lord Rama's rule as under, I quote it, na pryadevan vidava na cham vyadakrutam bhayam na vyadincha bhayancha asidranya rajyam prashasati. Meaning, there were no widows lamenting, no predatory beasts or disease causing fear under his rule. Sarvam Mudita Vasi Sarvo Dharma Paro Bhavat Nadya Himsam Parasparam. All people were joyful and devoted to virtue and no one harmed others. This utopian vision of Maryada Purushottam, the ideal of law-abiding ruler, governing within the limits of dharma, illustrates the civilization earning what is known as and was called as Rajadharma. A righteous rule. In Bhagavad Gita, when Lord Krishna guides Arjuna on the battlefields, he provides the philosophical foundation of selfless duty. Karmatvam karmajyayo na akarmanaha. Perform your duty, bound in duty, for action is better than inaction. When he says you fight, if you don't fight, it is worse than not fighting or fighting against your relatives. The teachings exhorts in Gita resembles ethos of niyat karma, duty-bound action, without attachment, for which foreshadows the constitutional value that public power is a trust to be exercised conscientiously without fear or favor. It is this moral imagination of governance that the framers of our constitution sought to translate into institutional form. When Sir Bengal Narsingh Rao prepared the first draft constitution, friends, I must here emphasize, you must all know that the basic draft of the constitution was drafted by B.N. Rao, Sir B.N. Rao. It is, look at the greatness of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He said, I want this man, who was a bureaucrat and then became a judge, I want this man to be the secretary of the drafting committee. And if you go to the Google, you find, when you say who drafted the constitution, you get his name, and the photograph is also depicted in the first page, and it contains the photo of Mr. B.N. Rao, who later on occupied the International Court of Justice. He was the first Indian judge to occupy the International Court of Justice. And when Dr. Ambedkar rose in the Constituent Assembly on 25th November 1949 to present the final draft, both were acutely actually aware that they were giving legal form to ethical foundation of Indian statehood, marrying modern structures to ancient values. In Dr. Ambedkar's own words, I quote, the Constitution is not a mere lawyer's document, it is a vehicle of life, and its spirit is always the spirit of the age. The Constitution thus became both a moral character and a political covenant, meaning designed for responsible governance rooted in liberty, equality, and fraternity, and guided by the ideals of justice, social, economic, and political. The legislature enacts, the executive implements, and the judiciary interprets, and each bound by the sovereign will of the people expressed through the Constitution. The idea of constitutionalism, that is, even when the ruler is ruled by the law, is the bedrock of this vision. And in India, this principle is not an imported notion, but a reaffirmation of ancient truth. Our sages proclaimed, Dharma is sovereign even before the king. In modern India, the Constitution reigns supreme. With this foundation, let us explore how these timeless ideals inform of our making of our Constitution, our governance structure, and the formulation of public policy in India. The first aspect would be the founding vision. From civilization ethos to constitutional text, the framers of Indian Constitution were deeply conscious of India's civilization. Sir B.N. Rao, as constitutional advisor, famously merged global constitutional wisdom with Indian ethical traditions. Commentators like Granville Austin observe that Rawls' philosophy was to seek, quote, a government of laws infused with ethical and moral spirit. Dr. Ambedkar presented the draft constitution. He emphasized that India's constitution must reflect, quote, spirit of age, unquote, yet stay true to India's ancient values. The result was not a slavish imitation of other countries, but a document that speaks in an Indian voice to Indian aspirations. Nowhere is this synthesis clearer than in the preamble of India's constitution. The preamble proclaims the grand objectives of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. The modern terms that echoes India's age-old philosophical goals. In fact, one can view these four ideas as a democratic soul translation of the four Purusharthas, aims of life, namely Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. In a comparative analysis, you say you take Dharma. Dharma means justice. What is the philosophical nexus? Dharma signifies moral order and duty. The constitution instantiates through the promise of justice, social, economic and political, as articulated in the preamble and provisions like Article 38. Justice is essentially dharma institutionalized, ensuring righteousness, conduct and fairness in governance. Then comes artha, economic, equality. Artha relates to prosperity and righteousness management of resources. The constitution seeks to realize through equality. For example, Article 39B and Article 39C calls for an equitable distribution of material resources for the common good. This is the ethical idea of artha that is well used in service of society. Then comes kama, that is liberty. Kama denotes the fulfillment of legitimate desires and freedom of personal expression. Our fundamental rights confers upon us the liberties of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. Though expression, worshipping guaranteeing each individual the freedom to pursue happiness and self-expression so long as it does not transgress the rights for the others' development of individual. Like what we say, your enjoyment should not be an annoyance to the others. For example, you say these days the youngsters would say, I have a right to play loud music. Yes, you can play loud music, but not at the cost of causing impairment to the other man or your neighbor. Kama is elevated to the constitutional value of individual liberty and dignity. Then comes the moksha. Moksha is attainment. What is this? Fraternity. Moksha signifies spiritual liberation, that is state of unity, transcending ego and division. This is akin to collective liberation from ignorance and diversity, designates a secular parallel to spiritual freedom. These philosophical foundations of India, namely dharma, moral duty, artha, prosperity, kama, fulfillment, and moksha, liberation, find new life as constitutional values of justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity. Hence, far from being a bag of borrowings, our constitution is a civilization synthesis combining the best of modern principles with the enduring values of the land. During the Constituent Assembly debates, modern members or certain young members often invoke this civilization heritage. This was replied to by the older members. They recognized that India's freedom struggle and its quest for just society were rooted in these timeless values. Notably, the Ashoka Chakra, the wheel of dharma, was adopted as the state emblem and placed at the center of our national flag, and the Constituent Assembly's crest, symbolizing the reign of righteousness. In 1948 debate, one of the members drew attention to the motto on the Assembly's own seal. It reads, Dharma Chakra Pravartanaya. That means for spinning of the wheel of Dharma, urging that this spirit guide the new republic. The Assembly Hall itself bore an inscription that Sa Sabha Yatra Na Santi Burdaha Vruddha Nantaye Vadanti Dharma. That is, this is not an assembly where elders are not respected. That is not an assembly where the elders are not respected. Those are not elders who do not speak of Dharma. Such innovations made clear that constitutional governance in India was envisaged as Dharma in action, in a continuation of our Raja Dharma in modern form. Hence, in the next topic, I will make an attempt to draw how ancient philosophy of Raja Dharma ushers inherently as constitutionalism. In ancient Indian polity, Raja Dharma, the duty of the kings, were used to set ethical limits on sovereign power. The king was not absolute, but he was bound to uphold Dharma. The Mahabharata pointedly warns that a ruler who ignores Dharma destroys both himself and his realm. The transition from Dharma to modern constitutionalism was thus a natural one, particularly in India's case. It was about subjecting state power to supreme law and moral order. Article 245 to 255 delimit the lawmaking powers of legislatures, ensuring that no law can transgress the constitutional domain, and where the legislature transgresses its domain, the arsenal in the form of Article 32 and 226 empowers citizens and our judiciary to check the violence of action and strike it down if it is not in accordance with the mandate of the Constitution. Hence, the fundamental rights in Part 3 act as inviolable dharma for the state limits that even the majority cannot lawfully breach. Interestingly, the principle that king is under God and the law, which developed in England, finds even older echo in Indian thought. Dharma saranam gacchami. The ruler must take refuge in the law of dharma. Thus, Article 14, equality before law, is the spiritual descendant of ancient injunction that dharma is sovereign even over kings. At this juncture, I would emphasize the constitutionalism in India is not a Western imposition but a rebirth of this civilization. That is, power is accountable to a higher law. The Rig Veda spoke of Rita, that is cosmic order, that even gods obey. The Upanishads or the epics extol the rule of law in their own idiom. The Constitution translates that ideal into modern governance, a government of laws, not of men, where every official is a constitutional functionary constrained by the duties of his office. The vivid illustrations come from an anecdote of Chanakya, that is Kautilya, the legendary minister. It is said that one evening a visiting dignitary found Chanakya working by a lamp on state matters. Upon finishing, Chanakya extinguished the royal oil lamp and lit a separate lamp of his own before continuing to speak with his guest. The puzzled guest asked him why he changed lamps. Chanakya replied that the first lamp was fueled by state's oil meant for official work. Now that you are attending to a personal or social conversation, he would not misuse the public resources. This principle that public power is a sacred trust animates our constitutional ethos. Just as Chanakya held himself answerable to dharma over convenience, our constitution demands that authority of every office, an institution, howsoever high, be exercised only for lawful public purpose. Public purpose, and never for personal gain. The rule of law thus permeates not just the text of constitution but the culture it seeks to instill. In sum and substance, dharma as Raja Dharma meant the ruler's duty bound governance, and dharma as constitutional means the rule of law, where the constitution and its values are supreme. A comparative constitutional synthesis, that what I said in the beginning, it's not a bag of borrowings but a blend. Critics have sometimes called our constitutions a patchwork of borrowed features, etc., etc. Indeed, the Constituent Assembly drew up many global resources, but they wove their influences into an Indian tapestry. Dr. Ambedkar refuted the idea of a mere copy, noting that India's constitution may be fixed, may be both flexible and firm, reflecting a judicious blend of ideas. Hence, our constitution is Indian in texture, though stitched from constituent parts of various origins. Let us consider a few major influences and how they are adapted, especially regarding judicial review, federalism, policy directive and principles and rights. For example, in the United Kingdom, from Britain, we inherited the parliamentary form of government and cabinet responsibility, Article 74 and 75. However, unlike the UK, we are written a written supreme constitution and judicial review. Therefore, parliamentary sovereignty stops at the constitutional boundary. From United States of America, we adopted fundamental rights, that is Part 3, Article 12 to 35, and power of judicial review to enforce them, that is Article 32 and 226. The US influence is evident in our robust judiciary and the very idea of Bill of Rights. Yet, we did not copy the US verbatim. For instance, we prefaced the phrase procedure established by law in Article 21 over the US, which they have used the due process, at least initially. However, in Merika Gandhi's case, the apex court interpreted procedure established by law to include substantive due process. From Canada, we borrowed the concept of federation with a strong central government, that is Union of States, where residuary powers lie with the center. Our federal scheme, Article 245 to 254, read with the 7th schedule, the idea of a single citizenship owed much to the Canadian influence. From Australia, the framers looked to the Australia for the idea of cooperative federalism and mechanism of concurrent list, both center and states having powers to legislate on certain subjects. This has allowed creative center-state collaboration with policies like GST and Niti Aayog initiatives. From Ireland, the directive principles of state policy, Part 4, which incorporates Article 36 and 51, were inspired by the Irish Constitution. The Irish has fashioned a guiding principles for social policies that are not legally enforceable but are fundamental to governance. From South Africa, the post-apartheid South Africa, India took inspiration on justiciable socio-economic rights and the vision of transformative constitutionalism. Whilst our constitution dates to 1950, it was amended, especially by the 42nd and 44th Amendment, to incorporate a more transformative division. Like South Africa, India sees its constitution as an instrument of social transformation, a tool to dismantle historic injustices and build an egalitarian society. From Japan, we notably adopted the concept of procedure established by law, Article 21. From Switzerland, while no single provision is directly lifted from Swiss constitution, the ethos of direct democracy and decentralization in Switzerland has been an important point of comparison. The comparison highlights how India balanced democratic centralism with local autonomy in their own unique way. The spirit of compromise and debate in the Constituent Assembly ensured that each borrowed feature was examined through the lens of Indian needs and values. As Grant Austin observed, the Indian Constitution is primarily a social document. First and foremost, a social document, and its roots run deep into Indian soil. Hence, we conclude this comparative view. I could say our Constitution is a beautiful mosaic. From Westminster to Weimar, from Washington to Dublin, from Ottawa to Canberra, to Cape Town to Tokyo, ideas are welcome, but the final picture is uniquely Indian. The framers own a document, both flexible and strong, aiming to secure the trinity of justice, liberty, and equality for all Indians, to promote fraternity among them. One of the institutionalized dharma, what we call the directive principles. One of the most original contributions of our constitution is the chapter on directive principles of state policy, what we call it the DPSP. as envisaged in Part 4 of the Constitution, though unenforceable in a court, these principles are fundamental to the governance of our country. Article 37. Again, Granville Austin, I would like to quote, describe the directive principles and fundamental rights together as the conscience of the Constitution. They were intended to guide future governments in implementing the founder's vision of a just society. Hence, the directive principles can be seen as the institution of dharma, that is the moral duties of the state. They draw upon cultural ideas of welfare and righteousness. Social welfare and equity. Article 38 urges the state to secure a social order for the promotion of welfare and to minimize inequalities. Article 39B and 39C directs that ownership and control of material sources be so distributed so as to serve the common good, and that the operation of the economic system does not result in concentration of wealth. These echo Kautilya's exhortation that a king must ensure the economic welfare of his people. The Arthashastra, what is famously known as Kautilya's Arthashastra, ideal of equitable resource distribution. He says, Prajanam cha hite hitam. The people's benefit is the ruler's benefit. Finds a modern form here. Then comes Article 41. The basic of Article 41 is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Let all be happy. The state should make effective provision for securing the right to work, right to education, and to public assistance in cases of employment, old age, sickness, and disablement. This reflects the ancient prayer, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramaya Makshi. That means let everyone be happy. The ethos of universal well-being is thus built into policies on social security and care for the vulnerable. Then comes Article 48A, Environmental Protection, which was added by the 42nd Amendment, which mandates the state to protect, improve the environment and safeguard the forest and wildlife. Long before this modern environmentalism, what we call is in present today, our scriptures declared, Mata Bhumihi, Putra Pratibhyaha, Mata Bhumihi, this earth is our mother and we are our children. This Vedic sentiment is now a constitutional mandate to treat nature with respect, like we treat our mother with respect, and protect it for future generations. Of course, nowadays, since youngsters are here, I have a little digress so that this monotonous delivering of lecture get deviated. There is one book written by Dr. Guru Ramaswamy Iyengar. He writes in his book, although Kannada, it's in English, also in Kannada, translated into English, but the original book is in Kannada. It is about Nakanda America, the America I saw. When he went to America, he wanted to visit old age home. He wanted to see what is this old age home, because at that time, somewhere in 60s, we had not yet started. We were not so advanced in sending our parents to the old age home. So he thought, let me go to that place. And he went. No, he was in his usual Indian attire of a dhoti and kurta. And one lady came in an automatic wheelchair near to him. She saw him and she said, "Hello, Mr. Gentleman. What's your name?" She said, "I am Guru Ramaswamy Iyengar. What do you do?" He said, "I am a writer." "Why have you come here?" "You come from India." And she took his hand and kissed his and said, "Indians don't come here. Your children will take care of you." That is the ethos. The whole world looks at us. You, the children, you are our future. Please think of this. It is your bounden duty, moral and pious obligation to take care of the elders. Because, I saw a small writing on a vehicle, respect old age, because it is your future. You will also become old one day. So, please take care of this is what our scriptures are taught, and that is what we are reading into Constitution now. Coming back to the environmental issue, this Article 48 read with what we said, Mata Bhumi Putro Pritibhyaha. The provision holds all the more much significance in the present time where we are faced with global problem of climate change. Promotion of international peace. Article 51 enjoins the state to promote international peace and security, maintain just and honorable relations between nations, and encourage settlement of international disputes by arbitration. This is a direct nod to India's civilization concept floated hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. Our tradition has always been preaching Shanti, that is peace. Peace-oriented. The Constitution thus makes it a duty of the state to strive for peace, a principle that guided India's non-aligned movement and commitment to global platforms such as United Nations. No government can afford to ignore them and claim legitimacy. In practice, many public policies and legislative initiatives in independent India have been motivated by directive principles. For instance, land reforms, abolition of zamindari system, preventing of wealth concentration, which is traceable to Article 39, the Green Revolution, White Revolution, traceable to Article 47, to raise level of nutrition and standard living, and more recently, the flagship programs capture the directive principles in action. Ayushman Bharat, Universal Health Insurance, furthers the duty to improve health, Article 47. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and the Right to Education Act were driven by Article 55. Free and compulsory education for children. Mahatma Gandhi, Narga is an expression of Article 41. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, promoting gender welfare aligns with Article 39F. Children and youth are protected from exploitation. Digital India and Jal Jeevan Mission reflect the endeavor to protect equal access to information and clean drinking water, advances the spirit of Article 38 and 47. We see, therefore, the directive principles bridge the gap between the policy and the philosophy of constitutional morality. In Keshavananda Bharati, the Chief Justice Sikri noted that directive principles, though not enforceable, should be kept in mind by courts in construing laws as they enshrine the conscience of the Constitution. These things remind us that both the governors and the governed, that the ultimate test of governance is the upliftment of the weakest and well-being of all, the very essence of dharma. In the modern stage of constitutional dharma, the judiciary plays a pivotal role. In ancient kingdoms, the Rajguru or the sage councillor would advise the ruler to ensure governance stayed on the righteous path. In India, a republic, the role of sentinel of constitutional dharma is played by the judiciary, especially the Supreme Court, which is empowered to interpret the constitution and the laws. The Supreme Court of India has been bold and visionary in exercising its role as to interpret the constitutional conscience through landmark judgments. It has not only resolved disputes but also shaped public policy and governance ethos in profound ways. A few examples will illustrate this creative role of the court in maintaining dharma. I will say only about two sentences. In the case of Keshavananda Bharati, 73 Supreme Court reports, page 1. The court held that while Parliament has wide powers to amend the Constitution, it cannot alter the basic structure or essential features of the Constitution. In Maneka Gandhi vs. Union of India, AR 78 SC 597, it expanded the scope of Article 31, ruling that procedure established by law must be fair, just, reasonable, and not arbitrary. In Vidit Narayan, 1998, 1 SCC 226, it was held in this public interest litigation stemming from the Havala Dairies corruption scandal. It was laid down to insulate investigative agencies from political influences. Justice K.S. Puttaswamy's case, a landmark 9-bed judge bench decision, it was held that the privacy is intrinsic to life and liberty and an inherent part of human dignity. Time permits only a few examples, but the Supreme Court's catalogue is vast. In S.R. Burma vs. Union of India, the court contained the misuse of president's rule, thus strengthening federalism and upholding dharma of power sharing. In Vishaka versus State of Rajasthan, unable to find a law to protect women at workplace from sexual harassment, the court filled the gap with guidelines treating gender equality and dignity as part of the fundamental rights. That is a creative policy intervention that spurred or instigated the parliament to enact the act, what we call it as POSH Act, Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act in 2013. In environment cases like Vellum Citizens or MC Mehta, the court read Article 21 to include the right to a clean environment, pushing the executive to adopt suitable policies. In Olga Bellis, the right to livelihood was recognized as part of right to life. It is important to note that judiciary's activism is carefully balanced by self-restraint. The courts have often said that policy is the domain of the executive and legislature, and judicial intervention is warranted only to correct unconstitutional excesses or neglect. This too is in line with dharma, which also requires that no single arm of dharma, duty, prosperity, liberty and fraternity dominates to the exclusion of others. So while the Supreme Court has been interventionist to uphold rights, it has also exercised restraints to respect separation of powers, as seen in cases where it refused to direct uniform civil code implementation, leaving it to the wisdom of the legislature. In deference to Article 44, status as a directive principles. Ultimately, our judiciary has emerged as a crucial pillar in shaping public policy with constitutional bounds and dignity, effectively acting as the keeper of the nation's conscience. As we move further into 21st century, India faces new frontiers of governance, rapid technological advancement from artificial intelligence to big data, globalization, climate change and evolving social norms all pose fresh challenges to constitutional governance and public policy. Yet, our constitutional framework, precisely because it is founded on enduring principles and has proven remarkably adaptable in guiding us through novel situations. One key feature of the Constitution is its elasticity. While the document has been amended more than 100 times, even many unamended provisions have shown ability to acquire new meaning over time. Article 21 is a prime example. Originally intended to guard against executive encroachment on life and liberty, it has been interpreted to encompass a plethora of rights that make life meaningful. From the right to life, a clean environment, right to education, right to privacy, right to livelihood. Article 21 today is a wellspring of substantive rights. Thus, the Constitution enlists not just state but every citizen in the project of good governance in new domains like digital ethics, stewardship. Public policy today must navigate a delicate balance how to harness technology and globalization for welfare while mitigating the risks. Here in ancient philosophy offers guidance. The Bhagavad Gita's principle, Nishkarma Karma, that is selfless action, duty performed without attachment to reward, is instructive. It teaches that one should act out of duty and righteousness, not out of greed or ego. Modern governments can take a cue from this by focusing on ethical people-centric policy making. For example, while formulating data governance policies, the duty to protect citizens' privacy, their dignity, should override any temptation to exploit data for unchecked surveillance or commercial profit. The Supreme Court in Puttaswamy reminded the state of this very balance, that technology should be deployed for public good, but within a constitutional framework of privacy and choice. Another lesson which we learn from Bhagavad Gita resonates that yad akarati shreshtaha tat avrato janaha. That means where action, the exemplary persons performs, common people follow. India leaders and institutions must lead by example by adapting to global challenges. If the government emphasizes transparency and integrity in using technology, it will gain trust and follow this suit. In tackling climate change, if India takes bold steps in renewable energy and sustainable living in line with our Paris Agreement reflecting Article 51C and 48A, it would set an example globally as well. India indeed has emerged as a leader in the International Solar Alliance, showing how constitutional governance through cooperative federalism and policy support for renewable can address a planetary issue. Our constitution is not anti-development, rather it seeks holistic development. To borrow a concept from our philosophical heritage, governance must seek loka sangraha, that means the welfare of all when making policy choices. In substance, the digital and global era is testing the adaptability of our governance. Swami Vivekananda said, science and religion will meet and shake hands. Envisioning future where science and religion are not antagonistic but complementary. In governance, that is to say, modern science must unite with ancient wisdom. A technocratic policy devoid of human values can be as dangerous as a backward-looking policy devoid of reason. India's advantage is that we have both a reverence for knowledge, be it Vedic or digital, and a cultural ethos of compassion. Thus, constitutional governance in this age means remaining faithful to our core principles while embracing the change. Then comes the shared responsibility of state and citizen. A constitution is not self-executing. Its vision comes to life through the action of both state and citizen. If governance is viewed as a sacred yajna, then every organ of the state and every citizen have a role to play in keeping the flame of our constitutional values alight. India's democratic republic was conceived not just as a mechanism of government but as a joint endeavor, a social contract wherein rights and duties are two sides of the same coin. Our constitution devotes an entire part 4A, to fundamental duties of citizens. These were introduced by 42nd Amendment, that is Article 51A, but were always implicit in the vision of the framers. The 10 originally but now 11 fundamental duties listed in Article 51A covers a wide range: respecting the Constitution, the national flag, the national anthem, cherishing our freedom struggle, upholding the sovereignty and integrity of India, promoting harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood, preserving our composite culture, protecting the environment, developing scientific temper, safeguarding the public property, and striving for excellence in all spheres. This article I have been always emphasizing, striving for excellence in all spheres. In whatever position you are, in whatever vocation you are, in whatever occupation you are, you should always try to achieve excellence. I think most of you have seen, there was a movie called The Three Idiots. I think most of you have seen. Am I right? In that, one sentence which is relatable to Article 51A Class H is this. He will say, that Amir Khan will say, सक्सेस के पीछे मत भागो, एक्सेलेंस के पीछे भागो, एक्सेलेंस सक्सेस वही आ जाएगा. You should always follow excellence, the success will come to you. There is also a special duty for parents, guardians to provide opportunities to children for education. These duties are essentially a codification of Raja Dharma for citizenry. Just as much as the government is bound by Dharma, citizens too are bound by Swadharma, their duty to the nation and society. Please remind yourselves of Article 51A when you say Part 3, Article 14, Article 16, Article 19, Article 21. You should also remember Article 51A. You have a corresponding duty to the nation. Nation will come up only when you give back as what you are required to do as a dutiful citizen. You may wonder why I emphasize duty is in a lecture on governance and public policy, because good governance is a two-way traffic. A responsible citizenry is the bedrock of a successful democracy. Laws and policies, however well-intentioned, require public cooperation to be effective. For example, the best environmental regulations will fail if citizens do not feel their duty to refrain from polluting and to conserve resources. Friends, I may quote here one small example which happened 3 days back. I go for a walk in the morning in Delhi, what is called Nehru Park. If I miss in the morning, I go in the evening. So last week I missed my morning walk and I had taken it evening walk because it was a Wednesday, next day was a final hearing day. While I was walking, I saw two youngsters having the chips or kurkure. They were eating. After finishing, they were laughing, giggling and all. They threw that on the pathway, just in front of a dustbin. So I said, my young friend, why don't you pick it up and put it in the dustbin? He asked, what's your problem? I said, I don't have any problem. Thank you, I will do your work. I picked it up and put it. They looked at each other. They did not say anything. I went on, I finished my walk, I came back, and I had specific instructions that no one should, my gunmen, security, no one should come while I am walking. So that nobody will recognize me. So when I came back, my gunmen, police, they all opened doors of my car. These two young people, they also came. They came and saw the board, Supreme Court. They came and he said, sorry, sir. I said, not because of my board. I will be here after 27, I will be retiring. In 2027, I will be retiring. It is your duty. You are from which place, I asked. The girl said she is from Rajasthan, the boy said he is from Delhi. I said, you are from this capital city, you are from this country, it is your duty to protect your environment. Not only today, now that you have committed a mistake, make a promise with me that not only you will implement it in future, you will also make others to implement. They said, sir, we promise we will do it. That is the satisfaction we get. This is what we are required to do. For the best element, no policing can stop and spread misinformation or communal hate unless citizens exercise their duty to promote harmony. The COVID-19 pandemic was a stark lesson. Government can issue advisories and vaccine drives, but public dutifulness in following precautions and helping one another were equally crucial to overcome the challenge. In our cultural ethos, the idea of each individual must do their duty without waiting for others. This is echoed in a well-known teaching from the Gita, Swadharmya Nidhanam Shreyaha, meaning better to perish doing one's duty than to thrive doing someone else's duties. In societal terms, it means we must each perform our role, be it a judge, legislator, officer, teacher or student, with integrity and dedication to the common good rather than pointing fingers or shirking responsibility. A judge upholding constitutional rights, a civil servant implementing policies without corruption, a business person paying taxes honestly, a citizen voting conscientiously, obeying just laws. Every one of us, all are performing constitutional dharma in our own sphere. A brief illustration of shared responsibility is found in the epic Ramayana in relationship between Rama and his younger brother Bharata. When Rama was exiled, Bharata refused to usurp the throne. Instead, he placed Rama's wooden sandals, that is called Paduka, on the throne and ruled, and as regent awaiting Rama's return. Bharata declared that he would not govern as a sovereign in his own right, but as a trustee for Rama, that is effectively as a steward for what he considered the rightful owner. This story underscores a profound principle: those in power are merely trustees of power. They govern on behalf of the people. In Bharata's case, on behalf of Rama, who symbolized righteousness. It resonates strongly with our constitutional scheme. Every authority holds power, conditioned by the trust of the people. If an unelected prince could show such humility and unaccountability, how much more is expected in people's democracy where we people are the ultimate sovereign and elected leaders are fiduciaries of the public trust. The spirit of trusteeship was also championed by Mahatma Gandhi, who often said that wealth, power and talent are trusts from God to be used in service of society. Public policy in India increasingly recognizes the role of citizens as partners. We see this in emphasis on civic engagements, where the government often relies on people's participation to push for digital literacy so that citizens can better avail e-governance and also hold officials accountable through digital feedback. Friends, in another 5 minutes I will conclude. Before concluding, I would like to say that in digital era, we in India, we Indian citizens, we have taken a giant leap. I say so with pride for two reasons. One is practically yes. Two is my own experience. I was in Dallas, USA last June. So I was telling, one of my friends was there, who was my classmate. He said, Arvind, I am hosting a dinner in your honor, you should come. So he had invited some limited gathering of about 60 people. In that there was the mayor of Dallas and a senator of Dallas also. So I was discussing with them. So and as usual they say India is a state charmers country, that this blah blah blah. And apart from saying that we are told that your country takes years together for deciding the case. And so yes, in some cases it happens, some cases it is also fast. And I said, we have, of course, in many phases, in many spheres we have taken giant leap, then what you have done? They said, no, what is that? You can't beat America. No, that pride. So I said, we have already bet. They said, what? I said, for example, we digitally have a small vendor, a street vendor, takes payment or purchasing of a 1 kg of tomato or 1 kg of apple by digital payment. Oh, what is this? You are joking, sir? How can it be? No, we have Microsoft, we have everything, we are here, and you are saying that. I said, I was talking and I got a phone call from my brother. He was calling me. So he said, where are you? What is that you are doing? I just talked to him and I said, where are you? He said, I finished my morning walk. I am going way back to the house. I was about to, with the milk vendor, purchasing the milk. I said, I asked him, can you do me a favor? He said, what? I said, do you see any street vendor there? He said, there are many number of persons. He stays in Nandiriza. They said, many number of people are there. I said, can you please purchase 1 kg of apple? He said, no, I do not want apple. I said, no, for my sake you purchase, I will pay it you later on. I told him, please purchase. So what should I do? Should I give it to somebody? I said, no, you use it. By the time I come back, it will be another 20 days. So you use it. But only thing is, you don't pay cash, you pay that with the Google Pay. Or that is, so in 2 minutes I will do it. I said, before you do it, you switch off this, come in a video call, and then show it. So he came on a video call, and he was talking to that vendor, some lady, and he purchased, and he paid it, some 78 rupees or something. And I showed it to them on my iPad, to everyone, the visitors. Look here, they are purchasing on a street vendor. They were shocked. They said, how can this happen? I said, this is India. This is my India. This is our India. And he said, that senator said, even today, for getting a driving license, the applicant has to sign and fill up a form containing 1.5 pages. I said, nothing doing. Our country, nothing is now paperwork. Everything is digital. So they were all shocked. So we have to showcase our country's achievements also. That is why I said, in public policy in India increasingly recognizes the role of citizens as its partners. We see this in the emphasis of civic engagement, where the government often relies on people's participation. The Right to Information Act 2005 empowered citizens to demand transparency, effectively making every citizen a sentinel on governance, like social audits and participatory planning, like Gram Sabhas in village panchayats, and Article 243 involves citizens directly in decision making. This is the constitutional governance at its finest, moving from a top to down rule over the people to the participatory rule with the people. However, rights and participation must be accompanied by respect for rule of law and performance of duty. In essence, democracy is not merely majority's right to rule. It is the collective duty to rule justly. It is a compact that we will restrain ourselves from excesses out of respect of our compatriots' rights and the common good. Each citizen is a pillar upholding the constitutional order. When government and citizens work in tandem, government enabling and serving the people, people cooperating and constructively engaging, then we achieve what the ancient text called Ramarajya, Rama's just rule in spirit, a society where as described earlier, everyone is joyful, virtuous and cared for. Before I conclude, it is worth recalling the constitutional ideal of fraternity, often forgotten, sibling of liberty and equality. Fraternity is about sense of common brotherhood and sisterhood, that we are one people despite all these differences. As we said, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, we naturally act with empathy and sympathy and duty towards one another. Fraternity guides citizens to exercise their rights with equal concern. To conclude, constitutional governance is a joint venture. The constitution binds not only the branches of government to the people's will, but binds each of us to destiny of this nation. If the government is the charioteer, the people provide the momentum and direction through their participation in conduct. Or to use different metaphor, if the constitution is our national scripture, the state institutions are the priests that interpret and enforce it, and the citizens are the congregation whose lives are ennobled by imbibing its values. Only with all hands on deck, adherence to duty by leaders and citizens alike can the lofty promises of the constitution be realized in practice. In conclusion, I would say, from the Arthashastra of Kautilya to debates in the Constitutional Assembly, from the ideals of Rajadharma to practice of constitutionalism, India's journey has been one of continuity through transformation. We transform our external forms of governance from monarchy and colonial rule to democratic republic, but we carry forward an eternal inner spirit, the pursuit of righteous governance for the welfare of all. Our republic is thus both ancient and modern. The Constitution of India, adopted 75 years ago, has proved to be a living document. It is often said that the Constitution lives in the hearts of the people. In metaphorical sense, our Constitution is the modern avatar of Dharma. Whenever Dharma declines, it provides the means for renewal through amendments, judgments, elections, and informed public discourse. So too, our Republic regenerates itself every time. We the people reaffirm our faith in constitutional governance. We saw this regeneration at the end of emergency in 1977 when the people's mandate restored democracy. We see it when an independent judiciary fearlessly strikes down unconstitutional actions, or when civil society movements peacefully push for laws against corruption or for transparency. These are nothing short of Dharma reasserting itself in the life of the nation. In closing, let us remember some fundamental truths of constitutional governance and public policy. Number one, governance is service. Our constitution in its preamble and throughout reflects that governance is not raw power but about service to the public, accountability and the rule of law. The constitution creates a structure of checks and balances so that power is accountable. Inclusiveness of justice and justice. A constitution that emerged in the wake of independence and partition carries a special commitment to unity in diversity. Continuous renewal. Finally, the story of Indian constitutional governance is one of constant learning and renewal. To end where I began, righteousness may be obscured at times, but it is never extinguished. It resurges through action of conscientiousness, individuals and institutions. Let us remember that governance is not about power but service, not about authority but about accountability, not about command but about compassion. The Constitution is not a ceiling of rights but a foundation of responsibilities. And public policy at its best is the living translation of constitutional ideas into everyday life. That means by which the distant ideal of Ramarajya is approximated in our villages and cities. Thank you all for patient hearing. May we continue to draw wisdom, to continue our ancient sages' guidance from our constitutional text and inspiration. Thank you. Dhanyavad. Jai Hind. Jai Karnataka.
Thank you, Your Lordship, for your insightful teachings on the theme. We have with us here today Dr. Rajkumar Khatri, IAS, who is an accomplished civil servant with more than 33 years of experience in public service. He has had several key positions in the government of Karnataka, including Additional Chief Secretary for Commerce and Industry, the Education Department, and the Labour Department. I now invite Dr. Rajkumar Khatri to kindly deliver the presidential address.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Most respected Honorable Mr. Justice Aravind Kumar ji, visionary leader, chairman of the CMR group of institutions, former member of parliament, former IPS officer, Dr. K.C. Ramamurthy ji, Honorable Mr. Justice Ashok Vijayanarwar, Justice B.A. Patil ji, Vice Chancellor of CMR University, Dr. Raghendra, Vice Chancellor Dr. Praveen, Dean of the School of Law Studies Dr. Subramanian, Director School of Legal Studies Dr. Parmeshwaran ji, Registrar Mohan Babu ji, distinguished legal luminaries in this august assembly, teachers and staff of the university, students and personnel from media. It's both an honor and privilege to be part of this illuminating lecture delivered by most respected Honorable Justice Aravind Kumar. You all are aware that the CMR University stands today as a beacon of innovative education. And the School of Legal Studies that was established in 2003 is now recognized as a center of excellence in legal education. Dr. K.C. Ramamurthy Endowment Lecture Series was initiated to provide a national platform to reflect on the relationship between constitutional governance and public policy issues that are foundational to India's progress. Today, we are all deeply privileged to listen to Honorable Mr. Justice Aravind Kumar ji, whose landmark contributions to judicial reforms, case management, and access to justice are widely celebrated. Honorable Sir, you have widened our information by drawing the philosophical basis of governance and responsible governance, that the Raja Dharma, how you can translate or translate to the modern constitution, and how it has been the soul of the constitution, and the government should act in accordance with the directive principle of policies. You have widely quoted not only from the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, but also from your personal experiences. I can recall that on several occasions I have appeared in the court of Honorable Justice Aravind Kumar ji as Principal Secretary, Revenue, Media Commissioner, and I could see very clearly how the principles of public good and the natural justice were the top priority on his mind. The situations which perhaps I thought are very complex, and when I appeared before him, maybe at Harvard bench or even at the Bangalore bench, you made it so simple and so workable that are the pleasant memories for the whole lifetime for me. Sir, for the benefit of the august audience here, you have given an excellent comparison of the various constitutions in different countries. Even though we have borrowed some principles from various countries' constitutions like Canada or Australia for federalism, but the soul of Indian constitution is Indian and very much Indian. Thank you so much for that. You have also given us the benefit of the experiences of persons like Guru Ramaswamy Iyer. And I can personally relate to your observations, sir, as I work very closely now after retirement for palliative and geriatric care with some NGOs. Thank you so much for that, sir. In this tech-driven era, where the digital is the buzzword and the AI is the next buzzword, Hon'ble Justice has very clearly indicated that the technology should be applied for public good and within the constitutional framework. With this, we thank you profusely for your thoughtful and very meaningful address today. Your insights will resonate with the founding vision of CMR University and aspirations of its students and faculty. Finally, I wish to thank all the dignitaries, distinguished guests, faculty, students, and members of the media for their presence and support. Together, may we continue to advance the cause of legal education and principles of constitutional governance in India. Thank you, Dhanyavad.
Thank you, sir. I request Professor Dr. V.J. Prameshwari, Director, School of Legal Studies, CMR University, to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, a very good afternoon. I deem it a great honor to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the School of Legal Studies to this august gathering on the occasion of the second Dr. K.C. Ramamurthy Endowment lecture on constitutional governance and public policy from an Indian perspective, 2025. We express our deep-felt gratitude to Honorable Mr. Justice Aravind Kumar, Judge, Supreme Court of India, for accepting our invitation to deliver the endowment lecture. In fact, we have watched his Lordship's court proceedings when he was a Chief Justice of the Gujarat High Court in his division benches and also in the Supreme Court. And also in the most recent, the habeas corpus case that is being heard in the Supreme Court as recent as a week back. His Lordship has been as gracious, articulate and erudite as he is on the bench. Thank you very much, Your Lordship. I request our beloved Chairman, our Secretary, and our Vice Chancellor, and all other dignitaries to join and to felicitate our Chief Guest. Honorable Chairman, Dr. K.C. Ramamurthy, Member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha and Chairman, CMR Group of Institutions for his guidance and supervision. We thank Dr. Savita Ramamurthy, our beloved Chancellor Madam. We thank Dr. Rajkumar, IAS retired, former Principal Secretary, for presiding over the event and delivering the presidential address. We thank Shri K.C. Jagannath Reddy, Secretary, CMR Jnanadhara Trust, for his august presence. We are thankful to Dr. H.P. Radhavendra, Vice Chancellor, CMR University, for his guidance and leadership. We are profoundly thankful to Dr. Ravi, our beloved Pro-Vice Chancellor, CMR University, for his continued cooperation and support. We are thankful to Dr. Mohan Babu, Registrar, CMR University, for his presence. We are thankful to our beloved Dean, Dr. T.R. Subramania, for spearheading the School of Legal Studies to greater heights. We thank Honorable Mr. Justice D.A. Patil, former Judge, High Court of Karnataka, Honorable Mr. Justice Ashok Vijay, former Judge, High Court of Karnataka, for their presence. We are also extremely thankful to Dr. Sudesh Pai, Senior Counsel, Advocate Sushila Sarthi, Senior Counsel, Shri Lakshmi Narayana, Senior Counsel, and Mr. Ravindra Kamat, Senior Counsel, Supreme Court, for their august presence. We also thank all the distinguished judges, senior counsels, bureaucrats, advocates, and invitees present here for accepting our invitation. We are thankful to Mr. Ravindra Hegde, Registrar Vigilance, and Mr. Sunil Chettar, Registrar Protocol, for their presence. We are thankful to Mr. Kodandram, IAS former Secretary, IRS former Secretary, for his presence. We are also thankful to Dr. Balasubramanian, Air and Space Law Expert, for his presence. We are also thankful to Mr. Balraman, a former Registrar Evaluation, CMR University. We also thank all the senior counsels, advocates present here, the invitees who have accepted our invitation to be part of this endowment lecture. We thank all the deans, directors, heads of the department, faculty and staff of all CMR Group of Institutions and CMR University for their presence. We thank the print and electronic media for covering this event. We thank the police personnel for their cooperation. And I also thank on my personal behalf all my faculty and student volunteers of the School of Legal Studies for tirelessly working to make this event a grand success. And thank you all, my faculty and students. Thank you all.